A sneak peek of a video that will be coming in a couple weeks. We have twin 67mm oilless turbos. It's 2.5-inch stainless all the way back. Twin wastegate dumps. Air boxes for each one. Filter goes right there. You see vibrant. So also has air ride suspension. This is the intercooler it was running. Made 600 to the wheels on medium boost. So the whole front end's off and it looks like this, because this is the old one, that's the new one. This is designed by me, fabricated, all that. This is Toy Speed. If you ever need fabrication, go to Toy Speed. They do great work, and I also do work for them still. So these are brackets, still need paint that hold it, and the oil coolers. Has Autec 2500 Elite, whole 9 yards. So in a couple weeks, we'll film putting the intercooler on and going to the dyno and retuning it. We're running a setup just like mine. The surge tank E85. He's got 2 pumps in there. And it is a real Nismo. Morning view. This week's video, we start by doing the pie cuts on the wastegate, and then we tried to do the valve stem seals, and it quickly snowballs out of control. Again, make sure you like and subscribe. I'm happy a lot of people are liking the content. Again, I'll keep trying to do this every Thursday. Thanks. Okay, so this is going to be kind of hard to show, but I need a tight angle, so I took the tighter of the 2 pies. And what we're going to do is shoot this right there. Run it right next to the downpipe. And then this one will be almost resting on it. And then the dump will be right down there. And then the plan is to make a cover like the OEM one, and I'll have a little plate that unbolts for the drain plug, and the wastegate will be dumped close to that. So I need to mark that, and then tomorrow when I go into work, I'll tack the top part, and then we can bring it back tomorrow and then build the bottom half. So when you're doing these pie cuts, the best way to not get confused is your marks. You just go up. So you can see that's got 2 marks, that's got 2 marks, that's got 3, that's got 3, this one's got 4, that one's got 4. That way it keeps it way easier when you tack them together. So if you put it in the vise and you make sure the top pie cut is at a level playing field, it makes it a lot easier to tack them. So there's kind of order to the chaos. You kind of have to build things in stages to get everything to fit correctly and look aesthetically pleasing. So we're working on the dump tube right now, the water line, and the catch can lines. That's really what has to go on in this area. We figured out the dump tube's going to run right next to the downpipe. So now we have to run these two hoses. I want to take care of the two catch can lines because they're going to run up on top. And then we'll see how that looks, and we'll decide where to run this line after that. Here's the dash 10 that just came in for it. They're pretty good quality. You can kind of see what I'm talking about now. I made the lines. And then we got the water line tied with the clutch line now, going across and going down. I've been working on the water lines for a while. That's how they turned out. And it goes up to the wastegate. Flip the wastegate around and put a 7-pound spring in it. And that's how that water line turned out there. Still gotta bring this wire up. I don't know if it will reach all the way up there. Maybe. If so, we'll cut the zip ties, put it there. Maybe hide that as well. So next step is to do the wastegate lines for the boost controller, but that's all the dash 4 I have, so I'm gonna have to run and get more of that as well. And then this was mounted over here. I may move it, may not. So this weekend's supposed to be really nice, but I still don't have the brakes on the G, and obviously this thing's not running, so I don't know. We'll probably just take advantage and do the valve stem seals. I've just been putting it off. We'll have to take the top crankcase ventilation hose off, but that's no big deal. First thing is to take off the valve cover. Take the catch can line off. You're supposed to put it top dead center. That's already done. This is why I have a VET in the rx7 instead of a DET. This gets rid of the famous SR head problem, and it makes these rocker arms solid. There's a rod that runs right through here that connects all of them. And then on top of that, it is now set up just like a VTEC head. So it has that third middle cam lobe, which when VTEC is engaged, or on Nissan's VVL, it will use this lobe to open both valves. Now we need to undo the tensioner, then we can start unbolting both cams. Got the cams out. And this gives you a little bit better idea of what I was talking about. See, there's a rod that runs all the way through the head and connects these rocker arms. Okay? The normal SR sits on a hydraulic lifter right there, the rocker arm, and it's just floating. Bad for high RPM, good for replacing the seals. Right now, we have an issue. Because these are mounted to the rod, I can only get them this high. The other issue is because it was originally in a front wheel drive configuration, the rods come out the back of the head. which is back here. Obviously, you can't take a rod and run it through the firewall. So we're going to have to pull the engine. I thought about it. I could take the head off, but then I would want to at least clean the head, because as y'all saw, it was, you know, not very well taken care of as far as the oil maintenance. There was a lot of crud up there. But I would want to vat it, and then I would want to deck it, and then, you know, it snowballs. I need a head gasket. I could reuse my DET head studs, the ARPs, but like, it's just a snowball, and then we're waiting on the machine shop, and I don't want to do that. The fuel pump's going to be here Thursday, so next weekend we should be able to dyno. So that would be great for the next upload. So I'm just going to bite the bullet, and we'll take just the engine out. So I'm going to just unbolt the tranny, and we'll just take the engine. So we need to unbolt the hood, drain the antifreeze, disconnect both heater lines. That's for the coolant. And then the oil lines, it's easy. We just take those two off, and then the cooler and the filter is detached. So yeah, a little bit more work, but I'm really trying to get this done. So we'll see. Got the hood off, so now you can really see everything with all the light. By the way, definitely not sponsored by them or anything, but I swear by these Milwaukee tools. This thing will break a 14mm head bolt loose as long as you get it going and then step on it. Like valve covers, oil pans, even these cams, all those 10mm, takes forever when you just use a ratchet. That thing is so much faster. And then I don't know where it's at, but I have the 1/2-inch drive, 1200 foot-pound. And for you rotary guys, for the citric shaft, the flywheel bolt, that thing will break it loose, where pneumatic tools won't. So they're awesome tools. Anyway, back to the whole point, the hood being taken off and looking at the swap. So next up, we're going to drain the fluids, oil and antifreeze, and then take the radiator out. Radiator is now out. Oil lines are taken off. Now we're disconnecting that coolant hose, which is for the heater line, and then we'll get the other one as well. And then I'll bring the cherry picker in, and we'll unbolt the tranny and pull it out. One of the things I always try to remember when I'm doing engine swaps is accessibility and how easy everything is to install and uninstall. Thankfully, I did a pretty good job, I think, on this, and this really hasn't taken me too long. Maybe an hour, I don't even think. Got the wiring. Again, this was all mock-up, so like most of the heat shrink isn't shrunk yet. But we have the wiring harness removed, the fuel lines removed, the water lines removed, oil lines. We got this one ground that needs to go. And then we're ready. Got the tranny bolts undone and got the motor mount bolts done. So we're gonna try to jack it up, see what happens. There it goes. Coming right out. And then we just need to slide forward. Alright, I gotta put the camera down. As you can see, it just comes straight out pretty much. I haven't really had to move the cherry picker too much. You can see we had a oil leak back there. The O-rings Tarks gave me wasn't good enough, and hopefully that's where that oil came from and not the rear main. I already replaced that seal when I got the transmission. You can see you gotta cut 1/2 inch off the top to fit the adapter plate. Got a spec stage 3 6-puck, and this is an Autec Adapter. Wasn't a huge fan of their customer service, but it's the cheapest one on the market. It does the job. I'm just going to keep raising it up. We'll pull it out, set it down about right here, then that way I can just be patient and do the seals. A little look at Anthony's Z. He's refurbishing the headlights. Already did stage 1. Looks pretty good. Got a dirty ass engine bay though.
Well, why haven't you cleaned it?
It's got the plenum spacer. Sitting on some ESRs. 18 by what? 9.5 front, 10.5 rear. Stock suspension right now. And it's got some Borla exhaust with custom resonator deletes. And in no time, it's out on the ground. You can see the wrap job a little bit more. So, those are the plug. There's one there, and then there's one behind this Tarks VVL adapter. And then that's the lock for them. So you take those out, take this off, and then unbolt this one and the one behind there, and we'll pull the whole rod out. Then we can finally do what we wanted to start doing this morning.
That would be a fucking dick move, wouldn't it?
This guy just said he did the first one for me. It was a freebie. Now he's going to leave this one.
Yep. So.
Dick.
Yep, you're right. I mean, if you really want to go that way, I mean, asshole would be the correct term.
Beautiful day. Shitty ass working on the car day. Should just went out and fucking tailgate. Both are stripped. I tried every cheat that I could. So we pulled the engine. We're gonna have to pull the head off the block anyway. Thankfully, I have a really good welder at my main job. Anthony and I are gonna weld nuts. We'll clean all that and then put a nut right on top and then TIG weld this to the nut, let it cool, and then that should be good enough for me to break it loose. Then we can actually continue.
Somebody made a turkey move.
I had to go home and strategize and make sure this was the right move. And it is. So it took like probably 20, 30 minutes. Take off the intake manifold. It was really clean coming in. A little dirtier on these two. And took turbo off too. Yeah, with all that soot, I was wrong. It was exhaust seals. But man, they were bad. Jeez. Yeah, have to be replaced. So everything's off. Bolts there. Bolt back there. Bolt under there. Now we just have to break these loose. And we're just going to leave it on a little cliffhanger like that. Make sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned for next week's video to find out what happened.